Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Elevate. My name is Jessica.
My name is Darwin.
Welcome to episode 79.
Let's get it.
Babe, we're meeting each other for the first time and you're taking me on a date. Where are you taking me?
Chipotle for sure.
Is that really where you would take me?
Damn, I don't know. On
If you really were meeting me now for the first time, right? And we're in our 30s, where are you taking me for a date?
Can I get a little bit more context? Like, what do you like?
You're meeting? No. You just met me.
How did I just meet you and we're going on a date? Like, I need to know something about you to know what you like.
I don't know. You met me at the grocery store.
And we're just like, never talked on the phone like we're going on a date.
Hello there. My name is Darwin Nunez. No.
I mean, I would say, hopefully we're at least texting, and I will be like, what do you like to eat? And then probably find a restaurant, like a chill restaurant that we can talk, not like a brunch that we can party at.
Okay. Would you think about, in terms of budget, how much would you be willing to spend on a first date?
I wouldn't. So let's say I have money. Let's say I have a lot of money. I wouldn't go crazy because I don't want her to feel you to feel like this is the regular, which it could be, but I don't want you to think that. If it turns out to be, then it's okay.
In this circumstance of your lifetime, you're in the same circumstance you're in right now, and we didn't meet.
Now, right now, I ain't looking for nobody.
You wouldn't have been looking for nobody. There's this list circulating the internet, right? There's this debate between women about where it is acceptable to take a woman on a first date. And this list, to me, is a little ridiculous.
I think under $200 is.
There's this culture of women out there right now.
If we're going out to dinner, I would say under $200.
That, to each its own. Like, I respect everybody's opinion. Like, you do you, right? But some of the conversations going on online in regards to this are so superficial.
Read me the list, and I'll tell you if I will take you there.
So, this is the extensive list of places that women don't think is appropriate for them to be taken on a first date.
I'll tell you in what episode of our life I will take you.
The first one is the Cheesecake Factory.
That's like after we get tired of Applebee's. Like, you get promoted.
I don't feel like that. I would feel offended if someone took me to the Cheesecake Factory. Maybe I'm not that bougie or high maintenance.
No. I think the Cheese Factory is very popular, but we only been there like twice.
Yeah, really.
But I think in the dating or people that go out, they go to the Cheesecake Factory a lot.
I mean, to be really honest with you guys, if I was starting to date right now in my 30s, right?
But give the list.
Okay. So first one was Cheesecake Factory. The second one's Applebee's.
We like in high school.
We did that a lot.
We was in like not high school, but we was broke as fuck.
Chili's. We've never been to Chili's, but
I think we have, but
that's
sucks.
like it's like a chain restaurant, yeah. Chipotle.
To this day, I would go to my honeymoon to Chipotle.
But see, Chipotle, I feel like maybe I understand why.
No, but not to
Chipotle
go.
is not really like a restaurant that you go like eat and talk. It's more like, like grab and go.
I'm hungry, yeah.
So, like, I get it.
That's more
I'll give my opinion at the end.
That's like if we're walking around the mall and you're like, oh, look at Chipotle.
Yeah, let's grab something, right. Olive Garden.
That's like after Applebee's. That's like, we got a little bit of money.
But these places are in a list. The woman, whoever did this list, is saying these places you should not go to on a first date.
Okay.
The movies.
I think we used to do that like when we was teens, but the movies really don't make sense because you can't really talk.
Exactly. I agree with that. It doesn't make any sense. Like, you want to get to know the person.
It's like cute to, I think,
it's
like
cute when
after,
you're like a teenager.
Or like after the first date.
Yeah, maybe. Your house. Absolutely not.
Netflix and chill, bro.
Absolutely not. First date, your house, no.
Yeah, first date is crazy.
I feel like that's definitely a no. Any fast food chain.
Nah, that's
Fast food, yeah.
That's like we on the road going somewhere.
Yeah,
Or we-
I also don't feel like that's appropriate for a first date. Buffalo Wild Wings. I think
That was
would
my jam.
That would pass for me. Wingstop. We've never been there, right?
I've ordered. You don't like their wings. I've never been inside.
Red Lobster. I think Red Lobster is decent for a first date.
I don't know. No.
You can go in there and sit
And talk.
and yeah, it's like restaurant.
It's just I don't really like their food now, so maybe
like food wise, you wouldn't take
No.
anyone there. A buffet.
that's like
Yeah,
real
that's
cheesy.
kinda,
That's like I'm broke, but I want to feed you everything you want.
A buffet. IHOP.
Nah.
I wouldn't want to be taken to IHOP for my first date, honestly.
Maybe if like the first day was in the house and then you slept over and then we went to IHOP.
Okay. Dennis. I've never even had Dennis.
Denny's. Denny's is like a breakfast thing, I think.
Is it? I don't think so. Is it?
I think so.
Okay, I don't know. I've never even eaten there. The gym. Absolutely not. That is not a first date.
I mean, maybe if you're like into fitness.
But that's not a date.
You can go work out and then go eat.
Yeah. Church. I would have liked to meet someone in church, but that's not a first date.
Yeah. I mean, you shouldn't be in church meeting somebody.
What do you mean?
That's nasty. You should be there praying to God.
No, but if there
Not looking for love.
But of course you can be looking for love in church. That is a very, very appropriate place to find love. Because then you at least know that person is like in the same faith you are in.
I don't know.
Starbucks. No.
I mean, you could be like, oh, let's go grab a coffee and walk around the park.
Actually, I'll give my opinion at the end. Let's just go through the list. Coffee dates.
That's like Starbucks.
Yeah. Ice cream dates.
Ice cream slaps.
Family functions. I don't want to be taken to your family function on the first date. That's a no.
Damn, introducing to the family on the first date is wild.
No. Movie night. Netflix, Hulu. Absolutely no. Because then that would mean that it's in someone's home. Somewhere that requires, I can't see the rest. Okay, skip that. Bowling.
That could be fun.
That's right. That passes for me. Nightclubs.
No.
Hookah bar.
Nope.
A bar for just drinks.
It depends if you're like a drinker.
Maybe, yeah, it depends on the person, I guess. The Waffle House.
Never been there.
Me either.
Heard of it, but never been there.
Sports events. Is that a good first date?
But then if he takes you to Chipotle after, you can't be mad because you just went to a baseball game and then you got hungry and went to Chipotle.
So, for me personally, I feel that we shouldn't be so focused on how much money this man is spending on us on the first date. I think we should be more focused on how they're treating us. How much of a gentleman this man is. If he's opening doors for you. If he's, letting you first into rooms. If he's pulling your chair. How he speaks to his parents, to his mother. How does he respect other women? Like, we should be paying more attention to his character than how much money he's spending on you on the first date.
Yeah, like how does he treat you throughout the date? Not what was the
not how much money,
number.
Right? Because
what if he spent 1,000 but he treated you like ass?
Exactly. Then it doesn't matter. Like you can spend all the money in the world, but if you don't have no values, no character, that goes to shit. In my opinion, that's not.
But do you feel like women want a more expensive experience because at least if it doesn't work out, they're like, at least it was worth my time?
Yeah, some women do make that argument where it's like, yeah, in order for me to go on a date with you, I'm going to get all dolled up. I'm going to go to the nail salon. I'm going to go get my hair done. I'm going to get an outfit. And, I do agree those things are expensive, but you should be doing those things regardless whether you have a man or not, in my opinion, right? We're in an era where we're independent women, right? Right? Okay? Not saying that you shouldn't be seeking for a person who wants to be a provider in your home. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. But for you to be as petty to go to say that, I'm not going on a first date with a man that doesn't spend more than, I don't know, $500, $1,000, whatever dollars on me on the first date is a little ridiculous in my opinion. I feel that we should be focused on other things more than materialistic things, because he can also be testing you. What makes you think that he can't have you in question as well, that he might not be a little bit reserved with you because he doesn't really know you that well? What makes you think that he, in the back of his mind, he's like, you know what, I'm not going to spend that much money on this woman because I don't know her yet, and I don't want to attract any gold digger. I don't want to attract any woman that just wants to be with me because I am spoiling them with money.
What if he doesn't have a car?
I mean, I would have to go into a deeper conversation would have to happen. Like, what are the circumstances? Like, why don't you have a car? Is it because you choose not to have a car, or is it because you're really struggling financially? Because if you're really struggling financially to the point where you can't even have a car for yourself,
you shouldn't.
What are you dating? Exactly. Why are you dating? You're not ready for a relationship.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in your 30s and you're looking to settle down. Most women in their 30s, they're looking for a family man. They're looking for a man that's getting ready to settle down. If you're not ready financially, don't date, because
you gotta get yourself together.
Get yourself a little, not saying that everything needs to be perfect in your life, but if you're in a place where you can't even afford a car and you're a single man.
Or if you can afford a car, but you feel like, let's say you live in the city and you prefer to just take public transportation because you don't, it's more of a burden.
That's what I'm saying. A conversation needs to be had, because that might be just his preference.
Yeah.
There's some men that maybe live in a crowded city and don't want to own a car because it is a headache to have a car in a city that, it's difficult to find parking, and the tickets and the insurance, if they're a single man, they probably just prefer to not have that headache and just take public transportation. Yeah. But, it's all a matter of talking about, what is this person's vision? What is this man's goals long term?
What if this person
from the very beginning just cast judgment on a man based on where they took you? Again, it depends on if they take you to their house. That's an absolute red flag. That's disrespectful, first of all.
What if the guy lives with his parents?
I'm not going to knock him immediately. I'm not going to say that they're not worthy of my time immediately, because some people stay with their parents if they're single because they're helping their parents out. And they feel like, why am I going to go live on my own and pay someone else rent when my parents need my help? And I could just be helping them out in their home. So if that's the situation that's happening, where it's like they have a good job, they're responsible and they're just in their parents' home because they're single, I can understand that. Now, if you're not well off financially, and I mean that you can sustain yourself without your parents, and you're living with your parents, then again, you shouldn't be in the dating world.
Yeah, if they're taking care of the house and you're just living there and you live
rent free, responsibility free, you don't take care of anything. No, that's a no.
It's a hell no.
Yeah. But this list just seemed a little I don't know, a little drastic to me.
Honestly, the restaurant that I will take you, this might sound crazy, but it would be to Chef Rose's restaurant. Our friend Chef Rose just opened a restaurant on 231st in the Bronx. So it's called Chef Rose's Restaurant, right? So check her out. She's a good friend. Her and Nick. Tell her we said hi from the Fat Family.
Yes, that was a good one.
I'm taking Jessica to your restaurant.
To Chef Rose. That's right. That's a perfect place to take me, right? Delicious Spanish food in that restaurant. A very great variety. So shout out to you guys.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, I just don't feel like any of these no, not any, because there was a couple that we went through and I said, I just wouldn't feel okay with that. I would actually feel quite okay with going on a coffee date on a first date.
Yeah.
Because it's the first time we're getting to meet each other. We're getting to talk. And I feel like getting to know each other a little bit over coffee is decent for me.
Now, I feel like, since I've been with you through all the stages of your life, I think now you will do that, but not earlier in the year. in your years?
What do you mean? What?
No, I think you would have preferred like what we used to do, like going out, maybe to not the most expensive restaurants.
No, I feel like any time in my lifetime, if somebody would have said, "Hey, let's go to Starbucks, for example, for some coffee," so we can
Bro,
talk.
Starbucks wasn't even around when we was around.
Let's go to a coffee shop. Starbucks is not that.
We got like 50 years together.
If somebody would have approached me back then at any point of my life and said, let's go grab some coffee, I would have not been mad at that. Because, again, we're getting to know each other.
Do you remember what our first date was?
Our first
Besides,
date?
like, bus rides home. Because I guess that was, like, first dates.
Do you?
I think it was the day that I bought you a 10-cent lollipop.
Well, that was not a date. We just...
Wasn't that, like, the first time I picked you up? That I was like...
I definitely remember that.
Yeah, so that was, like, the first date. I bought her a 10-cent lollipop. And now she runs a podcast with me, and we're in episode 79.
Exactly.
You don't have to spend that much money, guys. Took her to Applebee's.
I mean,
took her to Cheesecake Factory.
If we go back to our beginnings, obviously we were very young when we met each other. But when we officially started our relationship, if I take the advice of some of these women, I would not be with you.
Yeah.
This would not be a thing.
Yo, those days were hilarious. Because we went into a deli, right? And I'm like, take something. I probably had like $10 in my pocket. And I'm like, just take something.
He was acting like he had so much money.
And she was like, no, I don't want nothing. I'm like, take some. I don't buy you a lollipop.
Yeah, because I just have always been like that. I don't want to feel como que soy aprovechar, like I'm taking advantage. I've never been that type of person where I'm like, you know what? If I can like take advantage of someone, I will. Like I just don't have that in me.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of these women, they do. And that's why they speak the way they do. And, everything is about money and everything is about, material things. And they're really empty in the heart and they've never really found love or felt true love. And that's why they speak the way they do. Because when you do know what true love is, you wouldn't be speaking in that way.
Yeah. And like, I feel like that's why a lot of couples kind of like break up, because they initially start on such a materialistic relationship and don't really get to know each other. It's just like, oh, dinner here, exactly. Caviar and drinks. And
some of these men, they go into debt trying to impress this woman, right? And deep down, they know that this is not sustainable. They don't have this type of money, but they're trying to impress this woman. And, now you messed up because now you've given her the impression that you've got it all together and you have all this money to spend. And she now has all these high expectations of you. So you just messed everything up.
No, and there's always going to be somebody that has more money with.
It's ridiculous. It's always.
So there's always going to be somebody that has more money from you.
And, don't come for me. I know there's going to be the women that say, well, con amor no se come. You don't eat with love. And I totally get it. I totally get it. I understand that money is a necessity. We need to have money. You need to have a man beside you that is going to be responsible, that's going to be a hardworking man, that's going to take care of you and your family. I completely agree with that. That being said, just because you meet a man at that point in time, he's not yet really well off, does not mean that man isn't going to be well off at some point. If you see that man has character and that he is a hardworking man, and then on top of that, he has values, he treats you well, that's worth more than you finding a man who has so much money and then he is introduced to your life. And now this man, most of them, they feel like, I attained everything I have by myself. And most of the time they treat women like shit.
Like an object.
Right? Because now I got everything I got by myself. You weren't by my side. Anything that happens, they're going to throw it in your face. Like, this is mine. Right? To me, it's so much better to build your life up with your husband. It's so much better when you can share that, we did this together.
Facts.
Right? Now, if you're lucky enough, because I'm not saying it's not possible, if you're lucky enough to find a man that he's already taken care of everything, and he's been waiting for his woman, right? He's been waiting for you, and he's been, studying, becoming a businessman, becoming an intelligent man for his future wife, and he's got you and on every level, congratulations. That's amazing. But if that person, if you meet someone who has character, who's responsible, who's hardworking, don't knock them off just because they're not where you think they should be at this point, because that's not to say that they won't be in a couple years. That's not to say that they meet you and now you push them even harder to become a better man. Like, character for me is way more valuable than how much money you're bringing to my table.
Yeah.
Because if I can depend on you, if I can feel like you're going to be loyal, you're going to be hardworking, you're going to be a great father, you're going to be a great husband, you're going to be a great, son-in-law, I'm going to build with you.
Yeah.
I'm going to do everything I have to do so that we can have a beautiful family, because I know you have everything it takes for us to succeed. So I'm not going to just push you to the side because at the moment that I met you, you're not, where society is saying that you should be as a man and as a provider.
Yeah,
That's
like
ridiculous.
You don't have a house and a car and
it's ridiculous.
well off at 30 years old.
And the way that the world is right now, it's hard.
Yeah.
So to put that much pressure on men, especially young men, in maybe their early 20s, mid 20s, early 30s, because early 30s, you're still young. Not saying that, you shouldn't be thinking, obviously a man who's in his early 30s, you should have somewhat of an idea, and, your path, you should be at least halfway through your path, knowing where you want to head.
I wouldn't say halfway. You should at least
you should have the ambition. You should have a picture of what you want from life, right? But you're still young.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things going on. Everything's expensive, inflation. And, I feel like some of these women just put so much pressure on these young men to be so perfect for them. But are you perfect?
Yeah.
Are you perfect for them?
It's like you're requesting so much, but like, what are you bringing to the table?
Here we go with that. Here we go with what you bringing to the table. A lot of women get offended by that. And it's not to say that you need to bring money to the table or that you need to bring, monetary things to the table. But who are you?
Yeah.
That a man should be lucky enough to marry you, right? Who are you? Because it's not about looks. Looks fade.
Yep.
You're not going to be pretty for the rest of your life. You're going to get old, right? You're not going to be the mommy chula all your life, okay? So you need to bring something to the table, right? You have a good head over your shoulders. You are a loyal person. You are a person who's loving. Would you be a great mother?
Yeah.
Like, what do you bring to this family dynamic? And the man should be questioning who you are just as much as you're questioning who he is and what he's bringing to the table.
Of course, because he's gonna make you the mother of his kids if you guys want kids.
Exactly. So it's a two-way street, and a lot of these women just it's just like, well, he needs to be doing this and he needs to be doing that, and then you talk to them and it's like they're almost empty-headed. They have nothing in their brain.
Another thing is too, like they'd be like, I'm not having no kids. Like I just want to travel the world, and then the man is like, well, I'm looking for a woman that wants kids. Like I'm trying to have a family.
Right, but those are things that are important to talk about in first dates, right? And
1,000%.
Talk about what are your goals, because it's not a bad thing for you not to want kids, but you need to make sure you're with someone who agrees to that, right? And you will find someone. There's some men who also don't want kids, and that's fine. But again, like, what is it that makes you so special? And some of us women, we're amazing. And I don't want any of you to feel like I'm bashing on women, because I'm not. I'm someone who, I value myself, and I have very high standards, and I've always had very high standards. But my standards are not so superficial from the very get-go. Because if I was like that when I had met my now husband, I would not be married to him. And we would not be building what we're building together. We would not have this beautiful relationship that a lot of people, have come to us and say they admire, in this time and age. If I would have listened to things like this, we wouldn't be here. Because I would have judged my husband back then to say that, well, he comes from a family that's broken, he doesn't, come from a family that's wealthy. What am I there for? you know, and it's in a lot of ways. I know you take this with a grain of salt because this probably doesn't apply to everyone. You need to be very careful where you pour yourself in, what you pour yourself into, or what kind of person you pour yourself into, because certain men or women don't deserve for you to pour so much of yourself into them. Yeah. But sometimes there's certain women and men that they're not bad people. It's just that they've been dealt a
wrong hand.
They've been dealt the wrong cards throughout their life, and it's not their fault. There's some people who just happen to have been born in a family that's very dysfunctional. You know, there's people who have been born in families that just don't have it financially, but they have ambition. You know, just because they come from a family like that doesn't mean that they don't have drive to keep going or to be better. And so we sometimes can see that as women. We can discern that. Even as men, we can discern when we find a woman or a man who wants to become better. And they don't want to just stay a statistic and just follow in the footsteps of their father and mother or their family. So let's be very empathetic when we meet people and not so superficial and just ask. You know, just give people a chance.
When did you feel that you noticed that? I mean, clearly I was dealt a horrible hand. I mean, you know my whole life story. Like, when did you feel like, okay, I could look past the hand that he was dealt?
Well, first of all, when I met you, I saw that you had it in you to work hard. Okay. Because you were a DJ from a very young age. And, you know, we were young, and you found a way, something that you loved, and you turned it into a business. You were a teenager. Yeah. And back then, I didn't really think about it like directly like that. Like,
he's a businessman.
Right. I didn't really think about it that way. But I did see how you were hustling for your money, how you were like out there. That's attractive. That's always attractive to me.
I didn't know that.
And it's like, oh, like he's a teenager. And I don't know, there was just something about you that even when I would go out with you, the way you made me feel, I felt protected. That was another thing, you know, like.
You still feel that way?
I do. I do. And I just always felt like you treated me with the utmost respect when I was there, you know, wherever we would go. And then the way that people who knew you would treat me, that made me understand that you would speak of me highly to them. Because that's another thing. If the friends of whoever you're meeting don't treat you with respect, be wary of what they're saying about you behind your back, because their friends are not going to feel comfortable disrespecting you unless the person you're talking to, your boyfriend, whoever, talks to them in a demeaning way about you. Yeah. So to me, I just always saw how you were respectful in that way. You know, I saw how you were respectful with your parents, you know, even if you disagreed with them. That was like important to me. And I just saw what good of a human being you were. And so to me, that was proof enough that you were a good person and that you had huge potential to be even better if you were around the right people.
Okay. Good to know. Glad I'm here.
So, yeah.
Those 10 cents lollipop took me a long way.
Well, you know, we were teenagers. I don't know. I wasn't raised that way to like just take advantage of situations. I never really had it in me to do that. And I always had that mentality of being like an independent woman. It's like an independent woman to get like my own money, that it wasn't in my mind to like, let's see how I can screw a guy over for money.
But it's funny because, I mean, we was teenagers. Like there were guys that were after you that clearly had more money at the time, and definitely had more than what I don't, if they had, right?
Right. But they had more than you, let's say materialistically wise, for sure. But I'm not going to go after a guy who doesn't spark anything in me just because he has a lot of things. Yeah. That doesn't make sense to me. I need to make sure that the person I'm with is going to hustle, is going to get his money, because I was very ambitious. I've always been very ambitious. I want good things in life and I want to prosper. But I'm also not going to negotiate my feelings for materialistic things. I'm not going to settle for someone that I feel less connection with because they're well off financially, because then I'm going to be miserable. Money is not going to give you happiness. It's going to temporarily alleviate maybe, you know, the stress or the pain of bills and, you know, all that kind of stuff, but it's not going to make me happy long term. And then how do you sustain a relationship where you don't actually feel a real spark with that person?
Yeah.
Like, that is where the longevity is. You can't have a long relationship, you know, for a lifetime with a person who the only thing they bring to the table is their money.
Yeah, and then intimately, you're like, damn, I'm not even feeling this guy.
Let me just say, because even when you're so in love with a person, you have days where it's like, leave me alone, you know? Imagine being with someone that you don't have that spark ever with.
Yeah.
And you're with them your whole life. I don't even want to imagine what that feels like on a daily. Having to feel like this is an obligation to be with them, you know, intimately.
Because of their financial provider.
I wouldn't be able to. That's just me. I know there's some women that may think differently, and to them, you know, money may mean more. And, you know, God bless your soul. I think that's a very sad life to live. But for me personally, I couldn't do it. No. Doesn't sit right with my soul, and I want to be happy. Like, I want to be genuinely happy. I want to have what I want to have in my life. You know, I want to prosper. I want to move forward in life. But most importantly, I want to be happy while I do it. Because, you know, life can be long, but it can also be short. You know, you don't know where when your last day is. And I don't want to die chasing just money, because that is a very sad life to live.
That's a great way to end this. That is a strong episode 79. Where you want to eat today?
So I don't know. You can take me anywhere, honestly, babe. I'm grateful for anything you buy me, for anywhere you take me.
Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches it is.
You could take me to freaking Chipotle. You can take me to the drive-thru of McDonald's, okay? And I will still love you.
Lenny doesn't recommend
Yeah.
He said Chipotle is okay.
Not healthy. That's not healthy, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I think you give me way more than any restaurant can give me.
But I do.
You give me way more. You know, this is kind of making me.
I'll let it out. Let it out. I want to hear this. Like, we want to hear this. I'm hearing in like the audience. I love you. All right, guys. I'll wrap it up. Thank you for episode 79. Damn, what is it she says? Thank you guys for watching. Leave your likes and your comments. If you're listening to us on Spotify, make sure you leave a review. If you're on YouTube, like, comment, share, subscribe. That is all for today's episode. Until next time.
Peace.